We're very excited to work with Naira for the rest of 2023. We will cover Saturday racing each week on the Players Podcast, as well as daily written analysis at inthemoneypodcast.com. Be sure to look out for our picks on the Naira.com website under the picks, plays, and promotions page. Lastly, make sure you don't miss Saratoga Live every race day this summer. For a full schedule of coverage, please visit inthemoneypodcast.com/TV. Hello and welcome to In the Money Players Podcast. I keep on wanting to say JK plus one. I am not your host, PTF. Apparently he's back. I don't know. He said, I'll see you Friday or Saturday. It's a wild gentleman who's just been running around the world. And Nick, we didn't know if we were going to have a chance to do this again. We thought Pete was going to be back, but here we are carrying the flag, Nick Tammaro, to talk a little bit about the 4 stakes we saw at Belmont Stakes last weekend, and then the full transition to Saratoga. We'll go over the pick 6. Boss, what's going on?
I mean, we've been carrying more water than Ozarka over here for Pete. When is he coming back already? This is ridiculous. His daughter's on national TV. His mother, he got a lot of cameos out of it on Generation Gap, and we're over here having to do the heavy lifting. I don't know. We gotta discuss this thing with him.
I watched Generation Gap last night, as a matter of fact.
So we watched it last week, yeah.
I wasn't expecting to see Pete as much, but there was a lot of Pete involved.
Yeah, there was. Yeah,
in that for sure. Boss, let's just hop right into it. I mean, let's start with the Suburban and Charge It, who is it feels like making the Whitney possibly a more interesting race.
Yeah, the Whitney's one of those races that, as of right now, you're talking about West Willpower and Charge It and Cody's Wish. Just horses that we've seen recently. It's starting to shape up as a very good race, because this looked like the Charge It that we hoped we were going to see throughout 2023. And I think since his comeback race to begin the season, he had been a little underwhelming, admittedly. I think Todd Pletcher would admit that as well. He did not expect that he would lose 3 straight graded stakes. This was a glorified workout in many ways, because he really didn't have much competition, not anybody that could keep him honest on the front end. And he was training very well coming into it, and he ran to it. He ran a good race and took care of business at the 1.25 miles, looking like the distance would be no issue. Of course, the distance is no issue when you're able to dictate terms to everybody else, but he got a 106 fig, and it fits very much in line with everybody else from the field. So onward and upward for him. And I think, in all likelihood, we'll see 1, maybe 2 appearances in Saratoga, because I think if he were to win the Whitney, they might try him right back in the Jockey Club Gold Cup to then have a little bit more time to the Breeders' Cup.
That was earlier in the card. A little bit later in the card, starting in race 8, we got to see the Grade 1 Belmont Oaks, which is the kind of the first leg of the Turf Triple Series that we've seen in the last few years. And we talked about it on the podcast that we did leading up to Saturday, that I didn't really understand a lot about Aspen Grove's form, but I did know that Craig Burnett called me at 8 a.m. one morning a couple of weeks ago and was asking me which New York rider I would use, considering who would be tied up in there. I think Irad's going to be tied up. Flavian will be tied up. Who do you think, who would you use? We talked through it. And he said, you know what? Maybe there's a European rider coming over for some of these other races, and maybe I'll ride him. And that's how the conversation ended. But I knew he was excited about the horse, and I can see why he's got a Grade 1 winner now from a homebred.
Yeah, which of course, that means a lot to a guy like Craig, whose operation is very heavy on breeding, and it had been a little bit of time between Grade 1s, but this was a filly who ran very, very well, no denying it. It was a performance that surprised me a little bit, because she really hadn't been competitive at a top level overseas. Now, her trainer, Fozzie Stack, brought up that she was in season in her last start, and he felt like that was really provided a viable excuse for why she performed poorly. I'll tell you, Jonathan, she got left in the gate and kind of spotted the field a little bit of ground before Oisin Murphy worked her over to get towards the inside, and really what was just an absolutely beautiful ride. And you couldn't have imagined an easier job getting to the rail to stave ground and take advantage of that lush inside part of the turf course. So really, the trip ended up working out incredibly well, and deserving winner for Craig and John Magnier. And I would imagine we'll see her. I believe she's staying in America, and we'll see her in the Saratoga Oaks as she bids for a second straight Grade One coming up. 86 Buyer speed figure, not huge, but certainly something that would at least make her competitive down the line with some improvement.
Race 10 was the Grade 1 Belmont Derby for the boys. This is one of those situations where of the American horses, I thought redistricting was the one you wanted. It's not that I didn't think Farbridge was good. I'm just saying if you were going to look for an American, I thought it was redistricting offered kind of the most value, was kind of the interesting one, because I did feel like this was a race that either Silver Knot or the Foxes would win. It turns out the Foxes got, I would say, a pretty rough trip, and Farbridge got the job done.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, my inclination was to more or less just sort of throw out the 1, 2, 3 finishers from the Pennine Ridge. I didn't really want to get too involved in any of them, and that of course included Far Bridge. I mainly bet 11-4. That was kind of my Yahtzee number, was Farbridge over Web Slinger. And, I thought I had a chance when they turned for home, but the pace didn't quite develop as much as it looked like it was going to in the first furlong. They kind of reined everybody in down the backstretch, and that slowed things down enough to make it tough for a true deep closer like Farbridge, who was, I mean, admittedly probably a little farther back than he should have been. And I think that ended up leading to some traffic. The discussion was that he probably was going to be better going 10 furlongs than he was going 12. And I think that's true. But, if he were to come back to a race like the Saratoga Derby at a mile and 3/16, could he be as effective? I think so. He's just going to need things to develop a little bit more in front of him. And a mile and 3/16 at Saratoga can often end up being a trip that's conducive to off the pace types because of that long run to the first turn.
Race 11, the Grade 3 victory ride, the kind of the stepping stone to one of my favorite races of the summer, the Test. Look, I don't know about you, boss. I knew she was talented, Maple Leaf Mel, but I didn't necessarily think she wanted to deal with the pace she was going to deal with, to deal with the added half furlong that she wanted to deal with. I just didn't see those things coming, and she did all of those things.
Yeah, I had a negative opinion on her as well. I thought she really took advantage of things, and I bet her at Pimlico, but I thought she took advantage of things getting the lead. I really didn't think she was going to get the lead in here, and I felt like she'd be overbet. The horse who ended up being overbet was Red Carpet Ready. I still thought Red Carpet Ready was a likelier winner than Maple Leaf Mel. And look, to be honest with you, and I don't want to sound like I'm being overly harsh, but I wondered if she was going to perform as well for a new trainer. She had obviously done exceptionally well for Jeremiah Englehart. This was her first start for Melanie Giddings, who, I'm not doing anything other than quoting statistics. Melanie Giddings had 2 lifetime wins coming into Saturday. Jeremiah Englehart has over 1,000. So, it's just something that was notable. And now it obviously showed that a good horse can win with anybody, right? And Maple Leaf Mel is a very, very good horse. Doesn't stop me from planning on betting against her in the Test when she might have to deal with the likes of Money's Gold or somebody else that's going to keep her a little bit more honest on the front end, because I do think she got away with relatively soft fractions, all things considered. But she's a good horse, and it was a good performance. And, you don't see a lot of 99 Buyer speed figures from 3-year-old fillies really at any point, let alone in June, July of that season. So hopefully she gets to Saratoga in one piece, and we see that showdown with her and some of the other good 3-year-old fillies from this division.
Well, look, you said it. So we're gonna pop over to Saratoga. I'm here. I know you're coming. I was over at the track today. I filmed Cart Talk. I don't know if I should say who I did it with. Should I surprise people? No, if you're listening to this podcast, you get inside information. Frank Miramati. I just filmed
very
Cart
nice.
Talk with. So that'll be fun. Frank hits us with some impressions, some funny stories, but making his full season Saratoga debut. Looking forward to that. The pick six, $1 pick six at Naira always gets started in race 5. That's what we're going to talk about here at Saratoga on opening day. And boss, I think a lot of money is going to come for this class dropper in the 6 Portos. And with Flying P Stable, I think a lot of times you look to see they feel like aggressive claiming types that want to get their picture taken at Saratoga. But if you look at this horse's speed figures only, cover up the races that he's been running in, he really looks like a handful of these other horses in here. Looks a lot like Dust Devil, looks a lot like Ollie My Boy. Isn't necessarily the standout that you would think if you just look at the races he's been running in.
I agree. I mean, I think it ends up being far more wide open than people would generally believe. And these are the kind of races that you get at Saratoga because You get horses coming from different places. You get them moving up and down the class ladder. You get some connections that want to run their horse, are willing to run their horses a little bit more cheaply than they would under normal circumstances because they're just trying to get a win. Yeah, I like Dust Devil. I don't really see a reason why you're not supposed to. Pat Reynolds is a very good trainer, and anybody who's unfamiliar with him, he's been winning races for years and was, of course, the original trainer of Big Brown, was the original trainer of a filly named Backseat Rhythm, who was very good. This was the trainer of record for most of Paul Pompa's horses earlier in Paul Pompa's ownership period. And of course, they did a lot of good things together. This horse got a nice pace to run at last time, but he finished and he ran well. He was second beaten a length. He was wide, not a big deal at Belmont, but I do think he's got a very big shot in here, second off the claim. I think 20 is a realistic level at Saratoga. I mean, I don't want to be beaten by Portos, but I really don't want to be beaten by Ollie, my boy, because one of the guys that I've been tremendously impressed with over the years at Saratoga is Phil Bauer. Phil Bauer has done a tremendous job at Saratoga year in and year out. Talk about really knowing what kind of horses to run up there. He's done a really good job of it. So one of those guys that you want to pay particular attention to, I think, as far as this card and every Saratoga card goes, especially if you're using the workout reports. Phil Bauer's horses generally there won't be much help with this one because he's been training at Churchill, but generally when Phil Bauer's horses are running at Saratoga and training there, they have a tendency to train very well.
Look, I think if you're ending the pick five, the early pick five, obviously ending in race 5, you're starting the pick 6, starting here in race 5. I really just need to be alive to the 2, 4, and the 6. I think one of those 3 just looks like they're better than the rest of them. So you just need one of them to show up. The rest of them, I just feel like are kind of a cut below in terms of figures. Race 6, this is a spot where I will be getting pretty aggressive, boss. I'm going to single the 2 running with scissors. This is a horse that has shown really a lot of really nice performances, but I'm focusing more on the race 2 back that this horse ran a really fast figure that day. But the horse behind him, Grooms All Business, came back and won 2 races after that race. But not only did he win 2 races on the Beyer speed figure scale and on Timeform US, both of those performances that he won, he ran faster than he did in the race where he ran second to Running with Scissors. He ran a 108 Timeform US against Running with Scissors. Then he came back and ran a 111 and then ran a 118. Beyer speed figure, he ran an 84 against Running with Scissors, came back 86, 96. Makes me think that was a real race that Running with Scissors ran 2 races back, and that's why I'm just going to lean there and single. The rest of them I don't necessarily trust.
Yeah, my worry here is his last race. And I say that because he didn't run well at all. And now Jacobson's bailing. I mean, he's putting this horse in for 45. Obviously he wants to win, but he's reasonably certain this horse is going to get taken for 45. Now, there might not be a lot of people attracted to him at 45 for, a 7-year-old gelding that has no conditions and would have to run a New York bred races only in for a tag. But it worries me that it looks like when these old claiming trainers and these essentially old claiming horses, when they run one race that's a step back, that might be a sign they're going the wrong way, and you're going to have to take a very short price on him. I'll use him, but I like Yarrow, and Yarrow's not your kind of horse. He's way more my kind of horse. He's my kind of horse because he never wins. But God help him. And I think Manny has had a tremendous 2023 so far. This is a ride he'd want back from last time. He snatched a hold of this horse after he broke on top. He ended up getting stuck behind horses. He got totally shuffled out off the turn. He got steadied in mid-stretch. I wonder if Yarrow might be better at 5.5. And the funny thing about these horses is that you have horses that are good at 5.5. You often have horses that are good at 6, and you have a totally different group of horses that are good at 7. 7's a lot of time at Belmont is better for routers. Yarrow's 2 5.5 furlong races last year, including his win right off the maiden win, were 2 of his best races yet. And then losing to Phantom Smoke in a race with no pace at all, where he kind of lost his mind before the start. I don't think that's that bad an effort. So I'm going to pick Yarrow. I'll use Running with Scissors. I'll have a little backup on Rough Draft as well.
Race 7, the third leg of the pick 6, starter allowance. I thought the winner was coming from one of the outside 3 posts. Condiment Girls, and obviously take some money with the trainer change and the big performance last time. I don't necessarily buy it. I thought the 10 Obrigada was the one that I wanted. A couple of performances, the race 2 and 3 back, there's been 3 winners out of both of those spots. And then the trainer changed to Linda Rice, and you get Jose drawn outside. I thought the 10 and the 11 were the most likely winners, and I'll be kind of keying around the 10.
Yeah, I mean, Linda has really, really made a living at Belmont, winning off the claim with horses she took in Kentucky. She won with a lot of horses, period, but that was obviously something that she did by design. And Obrigado was another one who she took. And, with all due respect to Jason Barkley, this is a horse that Linda probably figures that she can move forward a little bit. And it's not that Jason's a bad trainer, but Linda is almost 30% off the claim and is hitting at nearly a 30% clip for the year. So whether her horses perform as well at Saratoga is going to be an interesting question to me. It's going to be one of the more interesting questions because this is not Linda Rice of 15 years ago. She is not a barn loaded with New York breds and turf sprinters. She's really a barn loaded with claimers. And a lot of them are dirt horses. So, she is supposed to win a number of dirt races at this meet based on the way she's constructed things. I usually shy away from the horses that Irad rides, especially at Saratoga, but I like Safra Adada for Rick Dutrow, second off the trainer change. I thought this horse ran well last time out. She just doesn't want to go a mile on the 16th. She had a great trip. She came up wanting late. I know some people might accuse her of having a good trip and squandering it. I just think she needs a cutback. And I'm going to use the 5, 10, and 11 primarily. I'll use a little bit of Condiment Girl as a backup because she does look like the main speed, but these are a lot better horses than she faced last time. That was kind of my concern. So I don't see it altogether differently from you, but just in addition to those outside horses, I'll use Safra Adada as well, the 5.
All right, on to race 8. Starter allowance again on the turf. I thought this was a much more wide open affair. Boss, what did you think about this one?
It is. It's a very wide open race, and I ended up picking the 5 Kingfish Stevens, who I thought had maybe a slightly less than ideal trip last time. He was breaking from the far outside during a week where they took the rail down on the Widener turf course. It didn't really play like the inside pass were a huge advantage. The eventual second place finisher from this horse's last race did come up the rail, but the winner came over the top 4 or 5 wide. So I just thought Kingfish Stevens got lost a little bit out there. The blinkers are going on, which I think might keep him a little bit more engaged early. And this is a horse who's clearly shown some talent on the turf. So I wanted to go there. I've been on My Sea Cottage in each of his last 2 starts, and he's stunk both times. I mean, it's a jockey change to Irad. Maybe that helps. He is the main speed on paper, but I have an awfully hard time trusting him. I was a little concerned about the 6 Unleash the Power, who I do think has run winning races in his last 2 as far as those go class level wise. I mean, a 2 Life where he got an 80 Fig, and then a one other than where he got an 81 at Churchill, and now he's running a 50 starter allowance. I mean, he's supposed to be a major player based on those speed figures and those kind of performances. So I actually thought the Darien was a little interesting from the inside. He's got speed and Florent, so you'd imagine he'll be a little bit forwardly placed, even though turf routers aren't exactly David Jacobson's bag. And I thought the 10 Consultant wasn't without chance. I know he moved aggressively and kind of spit it late last time, but that was a really fast pace, and the winner came from way back. So super wide open race. You can tell based on my rambling that I don't have much of an opinion, and I'm going to be deep here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to use the 6 as well, the 5. I like the 6, Unleash the Power. One thing I will say, just kind of getting geared up for Saratoga, something that I've done in the past, it's led to some okay decisions, but it's also helped me kind of get off of some things, which is understanding that the inner turf course at Saratoga, it's a unique situation, very tight turns. A lot of horses either love it or don't love it. I think if you can look through old past performances of horses and see horses that, were lower odds that ran poorly on the inner or higher odds and ran well on the inner, and try to kind of come up with some conclusions on whether a horse likes the inner or doesn't like the inner. I think it could help you upgrade horses that might not look so great on paper, and also downgrade horses that might be short prices that, what they were doing downstate at Belmont is not what they're going to do here on the inner. Race 9, the Schuylerville. I'm still working on this stat for the show tomorrow because I need to double check it, but I had someone kind of look for a second. So if it's wrong, it's pretty close to right, I think, though. The 7 Wine on Tap. When I looked at this, I thought, Tap It winning first out at 5, like, does that ever happen? And I believe in the last 5 years, there's been one Tap It first time starter to win going 5 out of 12. Now, it's not the biggest sample size. It's 12. But I think that what it is a big indicator of is there's only been 12 to try it, because it's not something that they do. You just don't having Tappets run first time out at 5. And the fact that this horse ran as well as they did as she did, kind of needing to be, kind of ridden around there, you got to think that extra furlong, the seasoning is going to really help her quite a bit.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not like this is a super precocious dam side either. I mean, this is the second dam was winless in 2 starts. The dam herself was a 4-time winner, and all 4 of those wins came at a mile or more. 3 of them came at a mile and a 16th or more. So I'm sorry, all 4 wins came at a mile and 16th or more. 2 of them came at a mile and an eighth. So I mean, this is not precocity was like really not in this pedigree at all. And I mean, all things considered, Jonathan, they paid 600,000 for a tap it out of the quality road mare. That's not that much. So it's clear to me that Wine on Tap is a filly that has a lot of talent, and I'm not surprised to see her run as well as she did. I'm concerned about the quality of her debut, but again, I mean, at this stage, aren't we concerned about the quality of all of their debuts so far? As far as what was behind them, I say that because the 3rd place finisher came back and kind of embarrassed herself on Saturday at Belmont. Didn't run well, had a perfectly good trip, and totally stopped. But I don't necessarily want to hold that against Wine on Tap. I picked her on top. I didn't really have the courage to go anywhere else. I would have rather taken a horse that maybe made up a little bit of ground in their maiden win. But all of those horses, especially this time of year, generally their races are very slow, and they win because everybody else just got tired. So I don't really think that's the case with Status Seeker, the 4. I thought Status Seeker really reached out and caught the winner. They did peel off 7 lengths clear of everybody else. I think that could actually end up being a situation where that figure may have to be looked at again down the line. But as for right now, I mean, it is what it is. And so I can't quibble with it too much. I'll use those 2. Saratoga Secret for Wayne Lucas. I thought it was interesting that both he and Todd Pletcher are bidding for their 7th Schuylervilles respectively. So kind of fun to see. And we'll see if Saratoga Secret is as good as she showed in that debut, where, all things considered, she was basically good enough speed figure wise to be considered a major player here.
And then to wrap it up, like we always like to do about this time, maiden 40s on the grass at Saratoga. I thought the 7, what are we calling this?
Arasaima.
Yeah, look, I think in these, when you see horses dropping from maiden special weight, I always, it's my first stop. It's my first place I look. You get Flavian Pratt. You have a horse that has run well in his last 2 starts, just hasn't gotten the win, and maybe the class relief is exactly what they need. So that's where I landed, is the 7. But this is going to be a race where, it just feels like you need to use as many as you can, depending on your other opinions.
Yeah, I mean, Arasaima has had just a few chances, 8. 3rd off a layoff here. This is a big drop in class. It's also, with all due respect to Katie Davis, it's a big jockey change. I mean, Katie was a little lost on the Belmont turf on a number of occasions. And I mean, it's, we're not going to a jockey with a 10% strike rate. We're going to Flavian Pratt. So, I mean, this is a big rider switch. This horse has not really run all that well, but neither has her competition. So it's a matter of her getting to the right spot. I'm going to use her. I'm going to use the 2 Charisse, who I thought actually ran credibly 2 starts back, dropping in class for Mark Hennig. He had a horse in a similar scenario in the nightcap on Saturday who ran well and probably should have gotten a little bit more of it. The other issue here is that, I mean, outside of those 2, to me, the next horse that I would use is the 12. That's a tough post position. So I don't know how deep I could go using a horse like that. So primarily 2-7 for me to close it out in a pretty tricky and fun sequence.
Saratoga time, boss man. Where can everybody find all your analysis for the remainder of the summer?
InTheMoneyPodcast.com. I'll have it up the night before each day, and we'll have Nick's notebook. It'll come out every morning, 7 a.m. or so Central Time. You'll be emailed a little primer for the day's activities with some information of various types. I started this trend last year, and then everybody did it better than I did at every other meet, like Keeneland and Del Mar, Kentucky Downs. But I'll have to tell them where it originated.
The boss man. Boss, I appreciate it. Good luck this meet. I know I'll see you soon up here, but it's upon us. It's Saratoga 2023.
Thanks, my friend. I appreciate it. Can't wait.
We're thrilled to once again be partnered with Gainesway Farm. Gainesway stands up-and-coming stallion McKenzie. McKenzie produced 16 6-figure first-crop weanlings, the most of any first-crop sire, with an average sales price of $135,000. At Keeneland January, McKenzie produced the 2 highest-priced first-crop yearlings at $250,000 and $220,000, well above the $145,000 sales average. Additionally, at Phasic Tipped in February, McKinsey had the highest first crop yearling at $200,000. Don't miss out on your opportunity. For more information, visit Gainesway.com. Kurt, what's going on?
JK, what's happening, buddy?
Nothing much, man. I've been running around all day with the shirt changing and stuff, but I wanted to get you on here to talk a little bit about some of the new stuff we got going on. But also, I realized that we've never really introduced this partnership that we've had. And so I thought it'd be fun for us to chat about it. I've always wanted to do the saddlecloth shirt. I always thought it'd be a fun thing to do, and then we connected. I told you the idea. You loved it. We ran with it. You helped make the idea a real thing. And thousands of shirts later, here we are.
Breeders' Cup 2019?
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah.
It was in Santa Anita. Last time I was in Santa Anita. That's where we had the first conversation about it. A lot of since then.
Yeah, a lot of shirts since then. Kurt, a little bit of, so that's the JK Old Smoke collection, but let's talk a little bit about Old Smoke. Tell everyone watching, where did that idea come from and how long have you guys been rolling?
Yeah, so I'm from the area here in Saratoga, and as you well know, horse racing is a way of life here. And growing up, as I got a little older, I had a group of buddies I played baseball with in college, and after college, our way of getting back together was always kind of at the track. And as a few years had gone by, everybody that came to visit kept saying the same thing. They were asking for higher end apparel or a brand to kind of represent that you're a horse racing fan, which, as you know, you can do in any sport for the most part. And it was also products we were looking to buy ourselves and could not find. So the idea really goes back 20 something years. I don't want to age myself here, but back to the college time. And, life goes on, started a career in medical sales. And, when I got done with that, I just figured it was now or never. And it's been running ever since. Been 5 years now.
I remember, seeing a lot of the t-shirts and throughout the time. And one of my favorite t-shirts that you just released recently is that we saw today actually at the museum is the Easton Union shirt. I've always loved the idea of like that. That's the cross streets. That's like when you're at Easton Union, you're right there. You're about to go in. So I know you got that one that you've rolled out. And then I wanted to talk a little bit about, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I want to talk a little bit about some of the new ideas that we have, right? Some of the new stuff we did. I'm sure some people that are watching saw the saddlecloth polo that we released earlier this year. Obviously most of the shirts have been like a traditional button down, but we're transitioning a little bit to have some polos as well. The saddlecloth polo came out, and then this one right over your right shoulder that you actually put in my hands today that I'm going to wear on opening day. The Saratoga polo reminds me a little bit of a Sunday in Augusta putting on the red, huh?
Shirt is perfect. And it's kind of, I'm a golfer at heart, and I had a big golf tournament actually this weekend, and I wore it, and there was, 250 guys there, and everybody was drooling over this shirt. And it ties in the Saratoga with the, Tiger Woods, his Sunday red idea, and this shirt is just absolute fire. It is amazing. Want me to pull it up? You see it?
Yeah. Grab that thing. Yeah, grab that thing. Let's get it in the mix here.
This is it right here. Man. That is just, the material is unbelievable. As a golfer myself, I've worn every single shirt. So as you know, going back to the button-ups, the way we sourced that, we had, the idea was 2019 maybe.
Yeah.
And we took a year to source it, if you remember, because we were trying everything. We only wanted it to be the highest end product, and it took a while to find the right manufacturer to fit the needs that we wanted. And the same with the golf shirts. So of all the golf shirts I've worn, I made sure they got this as close to as mint as could be.
And so we've got those. Those are available. We have this one still in stock. We call this one the OG. You and I call it the OG when we're talking through all these damn shirt ideas. We have like nicknames for the shirts because it gets confusing. So it's like this is the Saratoga OG. Then like the OG is the saddle cloth. Yeah, that's the OG. We've got all the Secretariat ones that came out. I thought the Secretariat release we had this year, with it being the 50th anniversary, was great. And I thought that, those were awesome. But some of the ones that I'm excited about are, we also have Saratoga. Naira actually got a different design of a Saratoga shirt that they'll only be selling on site and online. I'll wear that one on Sunday. So that'll kind of be the official release of that shirt. But if you're at Saratoga this weekend, you can go over to the gift shops. They'll have them there. We don't have them. They have those. And basically, if I'm not mistaken, it's last year's shirt exactly, or is it flipped?
It's last year's shirt. Colors are flipped. So
Colors
last
flipped.
year it was
So it's
white base. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's the right. It's got the on, the Saratoga traditional logo awning with the horse underneath it, but it's red and white, the opposite. So, what else? What
be there ready opening day. Yeah.
And and we're kicking the ball down the road with Breeders' Cup to get something going again with them. So that'll be fun. But it's been fun, Curtin. It's been a fun ride. Oh, I guess we went to the Hall of Fame today. Got a Hall of Fame shirt as well that's at the Hall of Fame. And not to mention, we walked around a little bit, and I haven't been since they've done a lot of the remodeling. And what a cool facility. Well,
don't forget, I also have the other shirt you saw today, which is unreal, is the JK Club shirt.
I feel the JK Club is tricky for me because I feel. So if you don't know about the JK Club, we did it last winter, like around leading up to Christmas. And it was this idea that Kurt had that we would have, if you committed to this club, there was 4 shirts you would get throughout the year. You wouldn't know what they're going to be. They would just kind of be a surprise that shows up, and only you, who the people that join the club, would have access to the shirts. We would never sell them anywhere, so that, you wouldn't be walking around and have the same shirt as 17 other people. The problem is that when they're good, I feel bad wearing them because I hate when people say, "Where do I get it?" And I'm like, you can't get it. Sign up for the club next year. But this is a really, really good one that I'm excited about.
Well, though the experience is kind of cool because now that this has been out 4th summer, I think, there's been this experience at the track of, oh man, you got that one. Like you got the Del Mar one. I don't have the Del Mar one, or, that's the Secretariat one. That one's sold out. And of course, as I'm meeting people and they're coming up to me, or I'm coming up to them and thanking them for being a customer, the conversation is, I missed out on that one. It kind of brought up the idea that people do like the exclusive limited edition. And if this Saratoga, when the Saratoga one hits, people are going to be wearing it at the track and they're going to be saying, where can I get it? And I think that's kind of a cool experience for those customers that are part of the club. So we're going to do the club again for sure. This is the 3rd of the 4th launch in that. So one more on the JK Club 2023, but we're going to launch that again. And even we got some really good ideas for next year too.
Well, Kurt, it's been an unbelievable ride. We'll save it. We'll show it to them. I'm wearing it on Friday, I think.
Wear it on Friday because they're actually in route right now to our customers. So if they're watching this now, we don't want to spoil the mailbox surprise.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Kurt, I appreciate it. It's been awesome working with you. And look, we've done some amazing things with the JK stuff, but I want to encourage people to check out all the t-shirts. You got some crazy t-shirts. I got like 12 of them last year for my father-in-law. He wore them every day to the track. Nothing screams, I'm a racing fan, like Old Smoke clothing. And you guys should be proud of what you built. And I'm proud to be working with you.
Well, it's an absolute pleasure, buddy. It's been a hell of a run and enjoyed every minute of it. More to come.
All right, everybody, good luck, and get you a couple shirts. The great racing north of the border at Woodbine continues with graded stakes all summer, highlighted by the King's Plate in August and the Grade 1 Woodbine Mile in September. Don't miss out on all the action. For more information, go to woodbine.com. Kim, are you excited? Saratoga's around the corner.
It is not even around the corner. It is here. It is happening. Like, things are going on, and I'm so excited to be with you, JK. It's such a great summer. It's going to be awesome.
Usually when I turn out of my neighborhood in Saratoga, taking a left is super easy. I sometimes don't even look. I just can make it easy. I had to wait for like 6 cars to pass me today. That's how I knew the track was upon us.
Yes, that is a very good sign. It's very true. It's an amazing thing. It just feels like the whole world is coming and we can't wait to get it started.
Well, on this network, we've been talking about an event and a creation 40 years ago that was very important to horse racing, and that is the Breeders' Cup. But there's also another very important organization that was created about 40 years ago. It's celebrating 40 years. Cheers to 40 years. Happy birthday, TRF.
It's true. It's amazing. And it is cool. I did not know. I really did not know that Breeders' Cup and TRF shared the birthday, but clearly we need to put these two good things together to do the partying. Because 83 was a great year for horse racing. We celebrated the championship of all horse racing, and we started seriously taking care of these amazing animals when their careers were done. So we are leaning into this 40th anniversary with just hearts full of gratitude for every single person who has brought us to this point. And that is a tall order, because that is countless individuals. And I will go on and on about them. But the fun thing is we're just going to celebrate it all year long. We've been doing it since the beginning. And this summer we are doubling down, tripling down, 40 timesing it down for the summer.
Well, with Saratoga, we get new fans that pop in and these big race days and big race events. I don't think, unless they've been hiding under a rock, that they don't know what the TRF is. But for those that haven't heard, what's your kind of elevator pitch to what TRF is and the great things that they're doing?
Well, thank you. I always love that question, and I will do the punchy elevator pitch. Is that the Thoroughbred Retirement Foundation is honored to be the oldest and the largest thoroughbred charity in the United States that is dedicated to the welfare of thoroughbred racehorses and to take care of them for the rest of their lives once their careers are over. So we've been doing that for 4 decades, and we specifically focus on sanctuary, which is a very important piece of a bigger mosaic of aftercare. And that means we take care of those who are the broken and the old and dearly beloved who can no longer pursue another athletic career. So today we have 425 of these extraordinary creatures in our care. They live in 8 states and 15 farms all across the United States, from California, New York to Florida. And the last piece that I always love to talk about and at length is our Second Chances program, where we not only take care of these creatures and give them joyful, happy lives, happily ever after, but we give them the chance to change the lives of the people who care for them, who are incarcerated individuals in prisons across the country. So I love for new members of the ITM family to learn about the TRF and to learn as much as you'd like on our website, which is trfinc.org/players, because that's where all the good stuff is. Thank you, JK.
Of course, we'll talk at the end of the easy way to help the TRF by just writing a check or making a donation. That's the easy way. But we're going to talk first about the fun way to help the TRF. And let's start on July 31st, Gumbo with Kendrick Carmouche.
Wow, this is such a joyful. I mean, Pete and I, whenever we're talking, we're like, the key is to have fun and do good at the same time. And that is what we deliver with these parties all summer long. So we're kicking it off, I mean, with all the flavor, all the fanfare, all the charm that Kendrick Carmouche brings to just about every single thing he does. And he is not only an amazing rider, especially when he gets the lead, he is also really good in the kitchen. So he is cooking up his Kendrick Carmouche Cajun Gumbo. And that event is on July 31st. And it is like just a throwdown, fun time, bring the family. And it's at a great little place called the Principessa Elena Society, which is one of our Italian clubs in town. It has a fabulous backyard. It's a bocce court back there and a gazebo, and super chill, super fun. And I swear Kendrick kisses every baby and shakes every hand and poses for every selfie, and also makes some darn good gumbo. So we sell this one out fast, because the Principessa Elena is not the biggest venue on earth. So if you're planning to join us on the 31st, I would say buy the tickets soon. Hate to turn people away at the door, but that may actually happen on July 31st. And I think we probably start, I didn't look, I think it's probably 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. And it is on the 31st of July, 5 o'clock. Thank you.
5 o'clock. 5 o'clock to 9 o'clock, July 31st. August 2nd, it's a Wednesday, 6 to 8 p.m. Casamigos for jocks and horses at the Adelphi Hotel right there on Broadway.
This is one of these wonderful, they're all examples of people who have an idea and say, hey, can I do this? Would that be helpful? And I get to say, yes, thank you. And how can I help you? That was Kendrick. this one was Anita Motion, who said, how about this? So she reached out to Casamigos, a wonderful folks, Lee Einsiedler, one of the greatest guys ever, and said, hey, will you donate all the tequila? We're going to sell the bottles for $100 a pop. We'll get the whole jockey colony to sign the bottles. We'll sell them for $100 and we'll split the proceeds between the TRF and the PDJF. And thus was born this party. And Anita also reached out in a beautiful way and said, maybe the Adelphi would host that for us. Oh my gosh, the Adelphi team, so extraordinary, rolled out the red carpet, gives us the whole venue, provides the food, provides the space, super fun. And the nice thing about it, because it is August 2nd, it's the beginning of the crazy, crazy, crazy time. You can blow by, pick up your bottle of tequila, have a fun cocktail, say hi, do a picture, and roll to your next party. So it's that kind of party, and it is crashingly fun. It's often hot, but it is worth it. So I think those tickets are 40. We like the number 40 this year. $40 if you just want to come for a cocktail, $100 if you want a bottle. I have already sold 39 of those 100 bottles and 103 tickets. So once again, sorry to be a broken record, but buy now so you don't miss out.
And then August 22nd, 5 to 9 p.m. This is actually like one of like it was pretty close to like first date when we kind of ish with my wife now. Couple of summers ago where we came to this event, the TRF barbecue at the barn at the Saratoga winery. And it's always a lot of fun as well. That's on August 22nd.
Yes. So that's the Tuesday before Traverse. It does often fall on the same day as the draw, but once you can be there for the draw, then you pop on over to the Saratoga winery is the place where we do not have a capacity constraint. Honestly, they have events like 700 people there at some point. I don't think that's what we're going to do, but we are aiming for 450 to 500 this year. It's our 40th anniversary. We want all of our friends to come. It is a fun family affair. It's kind of like having your own private country fair because we have ponies, we have music, we have barbecue. This year, we're going to have all kinds of extra fun bennies. There's a great guy named Chris Carpenter, who's former MLB player, who's written a children's book called The Long Shot, and he's doing a book signing with me tomorrow, but he's also going to be at the barbecue. So we kind of bring kids are welcome, families welcome. Last year we did it more or less in a hurricane. We had lightning, flooding, thunder, power outages, and we still had a darn good time. So that is the, I don't ever want to say I want that one to get here too soon because that does kind of get us to winding it down, but it is the one we build up to all year long. And we have silent auction items and raffle baskets, and anyone should be there because JK and Gio will be there.
And so we talked about the fun ways. Those are the 3 fun ways to get involved this summer to help support the TRF. We talked about the easy way. What's the easy way to just write a check or make a click? What's the best way to do that?
Well, I so appreciate that, JK, because yes, the truth is these beloved creatures love them, but they eat money for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And we appreciate the ITM in the money community supporting in so many ways as they've done for years now. But yeah, donations of dollars are the most easiest and honestly the most needed thing that we do. So the best way to do it is go to the website trfinc.org/players. So then you end up on the ITM page. Give a gift. I mean, the ways to think about it is like $100 is like a couple bags of grain, and $2,500 takes care of one horse in our herd for a whole year. So I'm not saying everyone has $2,500 laying around, but when you have that big score, thanks to the great picks that JK has given you, you can just say thank you to the horses and you can take care of a horse for a year. I mean, what a proud thing that is. So anyway, every dollar makes a difference. Barrel of hay is like $10. So give $10. Every time you think you've had fun, you had a good day at the races, little thank you button, trfinc.org/players. We are grateful for every single gift and every single heart that comes our way. And thank you to JK for helping share the word so eloquently.
Well, Kim, thank you so much for all your hard work and the team and helping us, those who aren't as dedicated to the craft of saving these horses. And we're really lucky to have you and to have you helping these horses and to make sure that this beautiful game continues on, because the truth of the matter is, some might not recognize it. It's not all about what's right. If you can't look at it about what's right, which is to take care of these animals, it's necessary. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't seem like it would, but it will affect the front of house of the game. And the game could disappear if it wasn't for the hard work of you and your team of giving these horses a second home, like you said, if they don't have a second career.
Well, thank you, JK. You've taken it to heart. I always said when Pete and I first cooked this up and you were right there saying, let's do this, it was you are putting the horses in the heart of the horse players. And I cannot thank you enough for doing that. So thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. We can't wait to see you this summer and at all 3 events. Why not?
Absolutely. Make it a trifecta. Thanks, JK.
Thanks, Kim. TVG.com Haskell Day is Saturday, July 22nd. $300,000 estimated win early pick 5, races 1 through 5. A $500,000 guaranteed special pick 4 ending in the Haskell, and a $250,000 guaranteed late pick 5. Make sure you get involved on their biggest race day. It's Haskell Day. Also, don't miss the $1,000 Haskell Handicapping Challenge, played online only through TVG, ExpressBet, and HPI. TVG and HPI players must be pre-registered by 3 p.m. on Friday, July 21st. Contact Brian Skirka at bskirka, SKIRKA, at monmouthpark.com to register. There's been some big performances we've seen over the last few weeks, but the Adelphi Performance of the Week, well, there's 2 of them. One, an Adelphi horse, Splashy. Splashy's run 3 times prior to her first turf start. She ran on the dirt, wasn't all that impressive, didn't really do much running, but once she got on the grass for Christophe Clement and Flavien Prat, she really woke up. She was 15-1 that day. She came running. I think this horse is going to be very interesting. Her second time on the grass, and I'm hoping that it takes place right down the street. I'm in Saratoga, if you didn't already know that. I'm hoping it takes place right down the street. I think Splashy showed a lot of promise getting onto the grass, and it's very encouraging for a horse that didn't really show much on the dirt. So we'll be rooting for her, and she is one of the performances of the week. But like I said, I'm going to do 2 performances of the week because we got to talk a little bit about Charge It, who won the Suburban. Charge It looks like he single-handedly has made the Whitney a little bit more of an interesting race. Hopefully we'll see Charge It in there. We know we're going to see Cody's Wish, barring all things we know that can happen. If Cody's Wish shows up, West Willpower shows up, and Charge It, I think we suddenly have a very interesting Whitney. And I will say this, Charge It always showed flashes of being a brilliant horse, but just never really panned out in the way that we thought he could. This year, he really has seemed to do that. And what he did on Saturday in the Suburban, I think deserves a call as one of the Adelphi performances of the week. If you're interested in getting involved in horse ownership, there's a lot of syndicates out there, some good, some bad, but I will tell you this, Adelphi Racing, they're honest. They keep you informed of what's going on. And that's what's the most important when you're getting involved in a partnership. AdelphiRacing.com. And I got to be honest with you, not only does it seem like these guys have a lot of fun, but does it not seem like you're always getting their picture taken as well? But I really do like their silks. Nice and clean, black and white. I like that a lot, Adelphi. If you have any more questions, like I said, AdelphiRacing.com. Or if you run into Matt Qatar somewhere around the racetrack, I'm sure he can give you some more information.
Just me and you.